When you can start to mind hack your life to make the big things feel small, that's when you'll win. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the No Have Cakes podcast. My name is Jim Sabellico, and this is a strategy sprinkle for you. I am super pumped for you to be here because Strategy Sprinkles is where I give you a practical, tactical tip to help you level up in your life in both your personal and professional realm, because it sucks to be a boss in your business and then come home and hate your life. That's no fun. I've been there. I don't want you to go there. So the whole point I do this show, really to prevent people from having to be in that spot, because that spot sucks to be in. And what I'm looking to do here is just live my life as open book as possible, so you guys can hopefully avoid some of the pitfalls and traps that I fell into in my journey. And I want you to live a better life. Honestly, it's the whole reason why I do this. On that same vein, Mondays, I do a show called Mindset Monday. Those are a positive perspective to help you level up. Really just have a better week, right? A better mindset to start the week with. Wednesdays is a long form version of the show. I sit down and have a real raw conversation with someone who's done some stuff in life. We talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. Those are some of my favorite episodes. If you have not caught those, please go back, watch them, and do make sure that you actually subscribe, because I don't want you to miss out on that stuff. It is usually pure gold, and the past few have been, and I have a few that are recorded that have not come out yet that I know you're going to love. So please don't miss out on those. Do yourself a favor and make sure you subscribe so you catch those as soon as possible. Now, today's episode, I am recording this about 2.5 weeks before it airs. Not usually the case. Usually these are done the day of or the day before, in some cases 2 days before, but this one in particular is going to be really early. And this is really what I want to talk about with you right now. So as this episode comes out, I am probably sitting on the beach with my family, burying my toes in the sand, having a good time. The reason why this episode is being recorded now is so that I can be out with my family having a good time and not worrying about work and what's going on, and make sure that I'm still delivering on my responsibilities and the things that I committed to, and being able to be there and worry-free enjoy. So I don't know if you've ever been in this scenario, especially as a business owner or high-level operator that you are. A lot of times you go and you're like, hey man, I really want to do something nice for my family, or I want to do something nice for myself, and plan this event. Whether it's a nice dinner out, whether it's a family vacation, because you think this will be a fun thing for us to do, go enjoy it. And what winds up happening a lot of the time is you get there and you're physically there, but your head somewhere else. You're worrying about all the stuff you have to do, the stuff you should have done, the stuff you didn't do. It just winds up being a spot where instead of having this fun, exciting moment, whether it's a family trip, whether it's a personal vacation, whatever it is, you wind up regretting it. Those suck. It's undoubtedly worse than not going at all. Right? If you just stayed home and did nothing, you could avoid that negativity. But you try and do a good thing, and then you ultimately just get yourself pissed off, and then you probably are going to have a fight with someone because you're pissed off at yourself, and then you're taking it out on somebody else. And stop me if I'm getting to the point where this rings a bell, because I know I've been there. And the reason why I'm telling you this is so that we can stop that from happening, and you don't have to go through it again. Okay, the secret here is thinking ahead, then executing on it. Okay, none of this stuff is a surprise. If you've planned a trip 6 months in the future, a lot of times what happens is we underestimate and overestimate time, or just don't think about it at all, which is probably what most of us do. We say, oh yeah, I got 6 months to prepare for that. No problem. Plenty of time. And what winds up happening is you don't start preparing for it until 5 days before, 3 days before. You might not book your travel. You might not pack for it. You might not have saved properly for it. Okay, you probably haven't done the work for it. So what winds up happening is you get to this scenario and you start to freak out because now all of a sudden I need to get this thing done. And instead of having a relaxing, enjoyable time, you're stressed out, right? It's no longer fun. Now it's this thing that you're starting to resent because you're frustrated by it. So the way that we start avoiding that from happening is something I like to do called thinking ahead. Again, I know this sounds like a very stupid concept for me to have to explain to you, but in reality, it just doesn't get done. Okay, so I want to explain to you how I start to do this. On the first of the month, every first of the month, what I will do is I will sit and I will do nothing for the first hour except for this. I will plan out the next 4 weeks of that month, okay, or however many weeks there are in that month, 7 or 5, whatever it is. But I'll plan out the month, okay? So I will plan out on a piece of paper. I'll write down week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the dates starting, ending. What are the responsibilities that need to happen in that week? Okay, these are like the immediate have-to-dos. And if there is a time in there where, hey, you're planning some type of family vacation, you're planning a trip, there's an expense coming up, then I will start to go back and backfill in how much needs to be done so that I can clear out that week. Okay, so let me explain it a little bit differently. If I understand that, let's use April 1st as an example. Let's just talk this out. On April 1st, what I want you to do is I want you to sit down and take a piece of paper. Top left corner, write down April 1. Okay, let me actually just pull up a calendar here so we can talk about this intelligently. So bear with me in this awkward moment of silence while I grab a calendar. All right. April 1st being a Monday. Great, even better. So April 1st, Monday morning, and write down April 1. Then on a line under it, April 8. Then under that, April 15, April 22, April 29. Okay? And write these down through the end of May. So you're going to do 2 months at a time. And what winds up happening is then again, when we do this on May 1st, you're going to do May and June. So you'll always be a little further ahead. Now, I don't need you to go super crazy in depth on your schedule and write down every possible little minute detail of when you're going to go to dinner, when you're going to shower, when you're going to do whatever else. Okay, this is for larger vision casting for how to clear up time. So let's again go through the scenario, April 1st. And I'll actually do this with you on my own calendar right now. So let's look through April. Let's take a look here and see what we got going through April. Let me just scroll through the days here. All right, so I got some travel planned in May. All right, so May 17 to 18, I am going to be traveling. So now what I do is I start to look at those 2 dates, which that's going to be a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So now I focus in on that. I'm like, all right, cool. That's the next big time when my regular routine is going to be shifted to the point where I need to be mentally free from the day-to-day. I'm going to go back and look at the first week before that. Okay, that's going to be May 6th, that Monday. What do I need to do that week to remove the pressure from Thursday, Friday, Saturday? What are my obligations that I have for Thursday, Friday, Saturday? And what can I start to backfill in the week before to make sure it's done ahead of time? Okay, that's how we started to this point right now where I'm pre-recording this podcast episode so far out. Because I started to say, hey, all these things need to get done. If I wait to the last minute and I say, all right, this week I'm supposed to be traveling on Thursday, how do I get all this stuff done in the next 3 days? It becomes chaos. But if I know now, right now, okay, and in this assumption we're going for April 1st. If I know right now that in 7 weeks from now, I need to be 1 podcast ahead, I could fit an extra podcast somewhere in that 7 weeks. Okay, but if I start to get to the point where I'm now down to that 1 week and I got to figure it out, that's when chaos sets in. That's when we're packing last minute, some kind of little plan changes because plans always change, right? And that's when the chaos really just blows up in our face. and it's really avoidable. Okay, I understand plans are going to change, things are going to happen, life is going to happen. It does. Okay, I'm not saying everything's going to be perfect. But for the large part, these things are not a surprise. Okay, so when you can take time, and again, the point of this was for me to explain this thing I do on the first of the month. So I don't want to gloss over that because that is your practical, tactical tip from this episode. But when you can plan ahead a little bit, take that hour and map out your next 2 months and look at how do I take something that's going to happen in these next 2 months, right? And you should never have a surprise in the current month. For the most part, unless there's some last minute travel or last minute thing that pops up, you would have caught it the month before when you did this. Okay, so you're always going to have usually 5-6 weeks to plan something out, where you can start to shift things around in that 5 to 6 weeks, where instead of taking all of the responsibilities you have and trying to shove them into 1 week, right before you go, where you're pulling all-nighters and everything is crazy, spread it out, man. You got 2 months, do it. Like the concept of thinking ahead, everyone's like, oh, of course, think ahead. Why didn't I think of that? It's kind of just like, be happy. Why didn't I think of that? But we don't talk about what the actual like practical, tactical things to do to actually make that happen. So what I want you to do is I want you to take this and try it out. Spend an hour, right? The next first of the month. And listen, if the first of the month doesn't work for you for whatever reason, make it the first Sunday of the month. Make it the 15th of the month because that's your birthday and you love the number 15. I don't really care. Make it a routine that you can stick with. Okay, where every month on this date, you're going to start to plan out the next 8 weeks, the next 2 months. Okay, and if you want to adjust it to be 8 weeks because it works better for you, I don't really care. Do that. But my point is start looking at the next 2 months worth of time and figure out what's going to happen in weeks 5 through 8 that you can start to accommodate for in weeks 1 through 4. It's going to be way easier to make a 2% adjustment in week 3 than a 30% adjustment in week 7. Okay, because life is going to happen to you and you're going to have to be a little bit flexible in how you get things done. So what I want you to do, because I feel like this was a little difficult to follow along with, because this type of conversation kind of can be without the visual representation of you and I hanging out in front of a piece of paper. Next first of the month, April 1st, or whenever you listen to this, the next time, sit there and grab a piece of paper and write out weeks 1 through 8. Write out the next 2 months worth of weeks. And just jot down what's happening each week. Quick overview. Even if it's a normal week, write normal week. If you have an event that week that you need to be out of normal routine for, write it in there. Right, and then start to look backwards. The week before, the week before that, the week before that, how you can adjust slightly. So you're only adjusting a little bit. That's what we want to get to. We want to get to you having to adjust only small amounts because you're planning ahead. Right, and the same principle applies for financial purchases. You want to buy a new car? I don't need a car right now. I have a car. My car is fine. Are you going to need a car? Yeah, at some point in the next year, 2 years, you're going to need a car. If you start saving $30 a week, $40 a week, put it in an envelope, put it in a special bank account, by the time you need the car, you've got some money aside, right? Not just waiting until you actually need it to start planning for it. There are certain things, right? Budget is a whole different topic, so I don't want to dive too deep into that. This is more for how to plan your time. But the same rule is going to apply to budget. There are some things that are going to happen in your life. Okay, you need to replace the car. You need to replace the washing machine. You could plan this out to make your life really easy. And as you start to be a little bit more disciplined, a little bit more insightful into what's going on in your life, and you really want to fine tune things, which this is going to be not for everybody. You got to be really dialed into what's going on and really like Jeff Jensen level of disciplined in order to do this. But you start to look at your appliances, your major costs, right? The normal things that come up that it's, oh crap, surprise. Think about the average lifespan of that thing. How long does your washing machine last on average? Google it. Find out. An average washing machine lasts 6 years. When's the last time you bought one? 3 years ago. All right. So now plan out over the next 3 years, how much money do I need to put aside to buy a washing machine? $1.48 a week. I don't know, figure out the number. But it's much easier if you put that aside now. You won't feel it is the point. And the further ahead that we can think, further ahead that we can adjust our finances, our time management, the less we feel it, right? And it becomes so much easier. You don't have to constantly be on this roller coaster of ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. You can just coast where you got these little bumps over time, right? And that's what this is about. They're trying to level out your life so you don't have to have these dramatic swings. You don't have to go through these experiences where you're pissed off at people, where you're struggling for money, you're struggling for time because you waited to the last minute and didn't think about it. So take a little time, start planning out now what's the one little thing you can do. Start easing up the next couple weeks. As you start to master that, look to months, look to years. You can start to forecast what's going to happen in your life. And hey, if it doesn't happen, great. Save the money, let it grow some interest, invest it in something. And if it does happen earlier, at least you got a good head start. You're not starting from zero. Okay, so that's what I want for you this week. Start thinking about how you can start to look ahead. Grab that piece of paper, write out the next 2 months worth of big things. How to make the big things small things. When you can start to mind hack your life to make the big things feel small, that's when you'll win. That's when you'll stop having these roller coaster moments, these outbursts, these frustrations, when you start to figure out, how do I take this thing that was supposed to be life and keep it freaking simple? And that comes from not letting the big things feel like big things. There's ways you can do it. We'll talk about them. That's just one, man. There's hundreds of different techniques we can go through, and we will go through. So hopefully that was helpful. If you have questions on that, because I know that might be a little bit difficult to comprehend right away, you want to talk it out, leave me a comment, shoot me a DM. I'll happily talk over it with you. Or you can always go directly through our site. Book a call if you want. That option is open to you as well. I really do enjoy this stuff and want to help you. So if I can help you in this, if there's some clarity I can give to you, please let me know. I would love to help. Otherwise, love you. See you later.